What's up, everybody? This is my movie review of The Mousetrap. Now, this is a bit of a late movie review in terms of when I last watched it. That was back in October of some time, for obviously a Halloween season, as it was a horror movie. Now, this is another independent horror movie, so it's not licensed by a big company by like Universal or Netflix, and it is part of the sort of Disney character themes and fairy tale themes. So they've taken some classic fairy tale or Disney film or character and made a horror movie about it. And it is Altitude worked with them, I believe it is. Now they've also worked, that's the company that sort of produced other horror films based on children's books and sort of family favourite characters, which were family favourites and family friendly. They've worked this Altitude themselves, have worked with the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movies. They've done Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, so both of them. And I think they're still going to use them for the rest of the Twisted Childhood universe. But they've also done the Grinch themed Christmas horror movie. But the Grinch one and the Mousetrap are not connected to the Winnie the Pooh universe. They are separate from it. At the moment, at least. In the future, they might say, actually, we're going to bring those two characters into it, but I don't know. Now, obviously, the Mousetrap is an interesting titled movie. Now, for those of you who don't know, it is the first, I believe, horror movie about Mickey Mouse, specifically Steamboat Willie, because that is the version which is in public domain. Now, it was originally titled Mickey's Mousetrap, but because of copyright infringement, they then had to change it from Mickey's Mousetrap to The Mousetrap, and which is annoying, but I completely understand, because obviously these are twisted thoughts that people have put into these beloved family-friendly, family favourite characters. Mickey Mouse obviously being like the biggest character, one of at least, probably the biggest character of Disney. And, you know, with his whole children's TV show named after him. But it is dark, really dark and twisted that people have these thoughts. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I love these movies. Even if they're not the best movies compared to other horror movies built by Paramount or maybe by Warner Brothers, Disney, because Disney now have with Hulu, or like Netflix, Amazon. They haven't got Universal, they haven't got this big company to make these. These are smaller companies. So they're not as good as these big movies, you know. And I'm never going to say that they are as good as Psycho or It, or even the Terrifier films, because the Terrifier films themselves, they're interesting because they are, you know, they're not by Universal, but they are. I'm surprised they haven't been picked up by someone like from Universal saying, well, you know, we want to buy you so we can make more and make it on a bigger budget. But that is interesting. But there you go. But for a low budget film, with these low budgets, I'm thinking I never put my hopes high with these, because I know that they are low budget compared to what they are made on. If it was, say, Universal giving them a big load of cash, if Universal made this movie, they would most likely be making it with a lot more money. Most likely it's something like maybe even $1 billion, but sort of the, you know, money they would use to make the movie on. That is discussed between the company and the writers and everything. But because it doesn't have that much money. The budget is a lot less, and I'm always gonna have my mindset at somewhere basically in the middle where I'm like, I'm not saying it's gonna be bad, because they can surprise you, especially with the Winnie the Pooh movies. The first one was, it was enjoyable. I liked it. It was goofy and funny. It wasn't the best horror movie, admittedly, but for me, I really enjoyed it, and it is a favourite of mine, and I watch it all the time, like around Halloween and around any time of year. And then they released the second one, and I watched it, and I thought, okay, this is even better than the first one. The quality's better, and the budget's better. So I think that's, if they keep on that way through that universe, I feel like each movie's going to be better than the past one. So hopefully by the time we get to the Poohverse movie, it's going to be the best out of the series, out of the universe. And it's not going to be a complete, like, oh, this is bad. But the thing is, I feel people overhate these movies because they're low budget. And they expect them to be a grand budget thing. And I'm like, well, they don't have big budgets because they aren't a big company doing it. They are a small company, hence why they're made on low budgets. But for a low budget horror film, I'm always in the middle. I never expect it to be great because obviously it's not on par with Universal's money or Netflix's money. But at the same time, I'm not immediately going to say, oh yeah, it's probably going to be crap, because some can surprise you. But admittedly, I don't think it was going to be as good as it was, to be honest with you. But it was better than I thought it was. And it was more funny than horrifying. But it is what it is in terms of those movies, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be brutally honest, I did really enjoy it. And I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. There were areas that I thought, yes, you could have done better, because at the end of the day, it wasn't Mickey Mouse turned evil, which was the way it was. The sort of synopsis of the movie was, it made it sound like, oh yeah, Mickey Mouse is going to jump out the screen and he's going to be evil and want to kill a load of people, when it was just a guy wearing a mask. And I don't know, it was never really explained how he became Mickey. All we knew is that he had a weird latex Mickey Mouse mask, and he put it on and became this psychopathic killer. However, it was, I believe, because I've only seen it once, I thought the way it looked to me, he was a nice guy without mask, and then something snapped in him, and it just turned. But there was nothing there, so that's one point. I was like, okay, I really need a lot more explanation on him. Also, again, it was very stereotypical of the each horror movie that you get. You've got a group of teenagers, great, has to start there, and then they separate, and so on and so forth, and the ones who have had sex are the first to be, or go to have sex, are the first to be killed. You've also got a dickhead who's also killed. It's these really basic horror movie things which you see in a lot of horror movies, low budget and high budget. And the thing with a low budget is, that they do different to the big budget. High budget is because a high budget is able to do that. Because they've got a high budget, they can put the budget into elsewhere, like the visual effects or stuff. But when it's a low budget film, it needs to be something different. Which is why I definitely like the Pooh, Blood and Honey movies more, because it was something different. It was actually taking that character and making them evil. Whereas Mickey Mouse wasn't Mickey Mouse turning evil, it was a guy with a Mickey Mouse head mask. Look, it was his head as a mask in some like weird latex. But it was still an enjoyable movie. Like I said, it's 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. but there is supposed to be a sequel, so maybe, just like the Pooh and Blood and Honey movies, the second one might be better. Now, there are other Mickey Mouse horror movies gonna come out. There's another one called Screamboat, which admittedly I'm really excited for. Again, I don't know anything about it. I just know it's Steamboat Willie again, version of Mickey, going on a killing spree, as far as I'm aware. And I think it might. I don't know if it's the same people, like Altitude or whatever it is. I don't know if it's them or not, but I'm really excited for it. So, yeah, but a 7 out of 10 for me. Now, my next movie review is going to be Terrifier 3, which I'm really excited to make. So, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.